Thank you, Madam Chair. And I rise in support of the gentleman's amendment. And it's not because it's just precedent, and it's not just because, you know, our side does and your side doesn't when it comes to supporting Hyde. This is a very fundamental inflection point for us as appropriators. We are respecting the fact that at best, the country is split on the issue of abortion. You can go to different parts of the country where it's incredibly supported and different parts where it is absolutely opposed. We have to make a decision with other people's money. This isn't our money to use. And when we're talking about, you know, my friend from Nevada was talking about this being something, it's not about, you know, taxpayer dollars, it's about dismantling a choice. I would then also submit that we're talking about the reason this is so important to some of us, I'm not going to speak for everybody, is because I also believe it's dismantling a life. You know, the extremes of abortion to where you can be near birth or in the late stages, there's a lot of pain that's felt to a baby in the womb at very early ages. So we're not talking about this as like some weird, like this is something that should never be discussed as just a simple policy. We're literally talking about ending life in the womb. And whether or not you and I or we have the right to take other people's money and use it in that fashion. This is not talking about outlawing abortion. This is not talking about taking away states' rights. We're talking about whether we're going to use taxpayer money to end life in the womb. And I can tell you from personal experience and from experience with walking with many families that 24-week-old babies survive really well. They're in today's world, you wouldn't know one from a child who was carried to term. So there's a and they feel pain in utero. I've watched if a baby gets stuck with a needle in utero, they move away from the needle. They can be harmed and they can heal in utero. I mean, they're kind of magical. They're swimming in stem cells. The science today shows us that we know, certainly with regard to late-term abortion, that this is at best an ethical problem. But for us to be saying, gosh, somehow we're against families because this is what we're defending isn't accurate. So I wanted to go on record and say the reason I'm supporting this amendment is because we don't have the right to take taxpayer dollars to use it to end life. And I will also add that the Hyde Amendment has exceptions to save the life of the mother, which is consistent with protecting life. So it's not a radical or an extreme position. In fact, it's one that even Senator Manchin has said from the other side of the rotunda, he will not support a bill, an omnibus bill, unless it happens. So the reality is, for this bill to become law, probably at the end of this year, this protection of taxpayer use to end life in utero is going to have to be in there. So with that, I urge its adoption and yield back.